Larry and Sergey are the quintessential Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. They're smart, they're visionary.
Larry Page and Sergey Brin invented Google in the late 1990s when they were PhD students at Stanford.
They think that basically they're doing something terrific and they're really out to change the world.
Today, Google is the world's preeminent internet search engine.
It clarified and cleared up the clutter of the internet and made it possible to find what you were looking for quickly and easily.
It's hard to really predict what the impact of Google will be. It's one of those technologies that shifts the way people do things.
In the old days, finding stuff on the internet was complicated, so you had to be a skilled researcher. But not today. Now, thanks to Google, the internet search company, everybody with a computer and an internet hookup can search the web.
It clarified and cleared up the clutter of the internet and made it possible to find what you were looking for quickly and easily. That was a major breakthrough.
Google processes more than 200 million queries a day from all over the world.
I'm from England, and a lot of people in England use Google. Everybody in Ireland uses Google.
Yes, and Google is in France very popular.
One thing that's happened with Google becoming commonplace is people really expect to get information. So you're going out on the first date, you Google. You find out something about the guy or the girl before you go.
The Google Index becomes who you are in other people's eyes. That's a new thing, and we as a culture are just getting used to it.
Google was the brainchild of two brainy Stanford University PhD dropouts, Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
Larry and Sergey are the quintessential Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. They're smart, they're visionary, they're pig-headed in the best sense of the word.
Page and Brin introduced Google in 1998. Their timing couldn't have been better.
Google managed to hit it just at the time when tens of millions of people were coming to the web.
Dot-com startups were on fire. Interest in the internet was soaring. The web was exploding with information. The only problem was finding it. The existing search engines did the job, but they often turned up more junk than gems.
Before we were often searching, you had to do it multiple times to be able to find what you were looking for. Or if you were browsing on a site like Yahoo, you had to click through a lot of pages. They all had various problems. Some had irrelevant results. You'd type in a query for cars and you get lawnmowers or tractors.
Plowing through all the garbage to find the few nuggets of relevant results was time-consuming and frustrating. To overcome the problem, search engines like Yahoo used human beings, librarians instead of computers, to catalog the web's information and create searchable directories.
There's always been a basic philosophical difference between things like Yahoo and things like Google. The Yahoo side, which is what falls more under traditional librarianship, is that you have people who are experts who know what's going to be the best thing to look at, and they can put together a catalog, an index, a directory that lets you go and find the things that they put there.
But that solution wasn't perfect either.
When you get millions and billions, and we're becoming to trillions of different things on the web, you can't have enough editors to do that, but you can have computers, more and more computing power, to go and check that out.
Brin and Page opted for computing power. After studying existing engines, they came up with a supercharged machine that became a model for all other search engines.
Now what I would like to do is just to show you what 1 second...
Sergey Brin revealed some of its inner workings at a recent Technology, Entertainment, and Design conference in Santa Monica.
This is how we have to move the bits around to actually get the people the answers to their questions. You can see that there's a lot of data running around. It has to go all over the world through fibers, through satellites, through all kinds of connections.
Brin and Page help direct traffic to sites big and small, to independent journalists, to businesses and organizations which might not otherwise have been found.
I think they see the goal of something like Google to a large degree as making society more democratic.
Google also helped pioneer a whole new field of marketing that matched advertisements to relevant search results.
Users, when they're looking for something like flowers, will serve a flower ad, something that's targeted to their very specific query.
Prior to Google, no one knew how to make money off of search engines, so no one paid much attention to perfecting them. Google has turned search into a money-making machine. Search-related advertising is now growing faster than all other forms of marketing.
Google has become, on both the search and the advertising side, sort of the standard for how you both find things on the internet and how you make money on the internet.
It's hard to really predict what the impact of Google will be. It's one of those technologies that shifts the way people do things. When the automobile didn't just get people from their farm to town, it shifted the whole culture, shifted the whole way that we organize cities and roads and everything else. The internet is doing that, and Google was a big part of making the internet work that way.
Google's success has been closely watched by its rivals. In November 2004, the fiercest competitor of all, giant Microsoft, announced that it was launching its own search engine. Now everyone's gunning for Google, and the guys who made it happen, two PhD wannabes, turned search engine billionaires. Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin didn't intend to start their own company. What they wanted to do was sell their invention to one of the existing search companies.
AltaVista, Yahoo, you name it, Excite, they talk, InfoSeek, they talk to them all.
And all said the same thing.
Search is kind of over. We're not that interested in great search technologies. Our search is good enough. And any one of those companies could have had that technology during that period of time, 97, early 98, for a song. So they decided that they were going to form their own company and try to do it on their own.
Brin and Page had known each other only 3 years at that point. Brin, a 23-year-old doctoral student in computer sciences at Stanford, met Page, 24, in 1995, when he showed the newly arrived PhD candidate around the campus.
Sergey and Larry were in the same program. They, had similar research interests, but they were not friends. And what I heard was when they met, they didn't really like each other. That doesn't surprise me at all, because super smart people generally are wary of other super smart people.
Page was the son of a Michigan State University computer science professor.
Larry was always a very independent kind of guy. He's not the kind of student who comes in and says, "What are you working on? Tell me what to do." He'd come in and say, "I've got this idea I want to pursue."
He was a born inventor.
In his earlier career, he did things like build a huge inkjet printer of his own out of Legos or a plotter. He comes up with things that don't sound like they would work, and then he figures out how to make them work.
Sergey Brin was the son of a University of Maryland mathematics professor. Brin's family had emigrated to the U.S. from the Soviet Union when he was only 6 years old.
Sergey always seemed very bright, of course, and very sure of himself.
His interests ranged well beyond search engines.
Sergey is really looking into new ideas on biotech and space travel and those sorts of things. Very interested in the outdoors and sports and roller hockey and stuff like that. But of the two, probably the more outgoing.
Despite their rocky start, Brin and Page soon discovered they had much in common and began collaborating.
We weren't really sure we wanted to build a search engine. We sort of accidentally ended up building technology that could help search, and so then we built a search engine.
Myself and my partner Larry were just doing research in managing large amounts of information and what's called data mining, which means finding patterns in them. Eventually we turned to the World Wide Web, which is basically most of human knowledge.
What they found was a rapidly expanding universe of information, and so